It's 2014. I've just gotten home from school and a video pop-ups on YouTube with a thumbnail showing a faceless person in a suit. Of course, it grabs my attention and I. Oh my god, I was so scared back then. Anyways, horror is one of the most watched genres, and today we are going to talk about horror in media. What makes it work and why it seems to be disappearing from mainstream content. Ted the Caver is a short story that first appeared on 4chan. It presents itself as a journal written by a guy named Ted, who, along with his friends, explores an uncharted cave. As they venture deeper into the cave, the entries in the journal become increasingly dark and unsettling. Ted the Caver is considered the first creepypasta ever posted. Creepypasta is a horror story written like a modern legend, often shared online with multiple versions, each adding new layers of mystery and fear. They shine best at night by a campfire told in a calm and slow tone to create a feeling of unease and make the listeners look behind them, not to see if something appears, but just to make sure everything is as it should be. Creepypasta stories were a big hit on YouTube. Tales like Slenderman, Jeff the Killer, or Smile Dog were a breath of fresh air for horror media. Each story was more of a mystery, and even if you knew they were fake, you couldn't never be 100% sure. The way the monsters were built was fresh and unique. Slenderman, even though he was a tall monster with tentacles and no face, still looked very similar to an ordinary person. Jeff the Killer was an abused child who went insane and thought it could be fun to carve a smile from one ear to another. Smile Dog is just a dog that smiles and curses anyone who sees its face? Wait, I've seen that somewhere before. Hmm. Eh, Even though this kind of media had a huge influence on horror games, YouTube content, and horror storytelling in general, due to excessive use and bizarre crossovers like Jeff the Killer versus Slenderman, this type of horror slowly faded into obscurity. Nevertheless, creepypasta remain horror stories that still hold potential even today. Only now they need to be very, very well thought out. It's night. You got in bed, turn on the TV, and switch to a random news channel. Title: Do not leave your house. Hmm, maybe a kid went missing, or maybe there is a storm coming. But no. Emergency message: Do not go outside. Stay inside and take cover. Keep yourself distracted at all times. TV, social media, YouTube, or just go to sleep. Don't leave the doors open, close the windows, and if you see someone who looks exactly like you, cover your ears, shut your eyes, and call 666. Analog horror is the next horror genre that took over and still dominates the internet. It's a very appealing style, incredible intriguing, and yeah, it's actually creepy. Analog horror is a type of horror that looks like it was filmed on an old VHS tape. It usually dives into dark stuff like doppelgangers, PTSD shown as a creepy creature, or even twisted religions themes. I've split those videos in two main categories, the broadcast type and the series type. The broadcast type, like the Mandela catalog, where we are warned about the presence of alternate and things spiral into heavy religious themes, and series type, where each video connects with the next, building a weird, creepy story piece by piece. They use that old school VHS look, usually set in the late 80s, 90s, or early 2000s. The footage is low res, the tape are full of glitches, and the voices totally distorted.
On the brink of extinction. Pray, pray.
All those little details work together to build a super eerie, almost too realistic vibe that makes everything feel off. But that's what makes it so intriguing. Unlike the previous trend that once relied heavily on building a mysterious atmosphere and leave it up to us to uncover the secrets hidden in the analog horror series, they also play with the uncanny valley, that creepy feeling when something looks human but not quite human. Unfortunately, like any trend, the overuse of certain features and how similar many of the series started to feel kind of killed the original horror vibe. And even though analog horror hasn't faded into obscurity yet, if creators don't bring something fresh to the table, it's only a matter of time before it ends up in the same spot as creepypastas. Analog horror is, in my opinion, a brilliant subgenre and a real upgrade from creepypastas. It's also super easy to use. Just please, please, stop using that stretched face. Liminal places. I totally forgot to talk about them when I finished with creepypastas. They are basically the successor to creepypastas and only really became popular around 2019. They are the first analog horror series were violent after pictures of a liminal space called the Backrooms was posted on 4chan. They are just pictures of abandoned places that have a gloomy, eerie vibe, like the rest. Even though the place is literally just an empty space, people can't really handle that level of emptiness. No, it creates a weird sense of unease, and spoiler, you are not actually alone. And honestly, even though I don't really see anything wrong with this kind of horror, the Backrooms remains the only big media project of its kind. Alright, that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and drop a comment below telling me which horror media scared you the most when you were a little. And until next time, see ya!